Look, another one. Here's Joel Webden, who I'm supposed to debate. We'll see if he does it. Is on Tim Pool. Oh, Tim Pool's Tim Pool went and met with Netanyahu to talk about anti-Semitism, and then he promotes the Christian nationalist, anti-Semitic Christian that's calling for blasphemy laws
of the people who ultimately are determining that. So even
Moshiach agent calling for blasphemy laws. All the goy will bow down to Rabbi Yeshua, the King of the Jews, or it's blasphemy.
Even when you think about like blasphemy laws, for instance, you know, like if somebody blasphemed Jesus Christ, you're in trouble. If somebody blasphemed, Muhammad 100 years ago, you're not in trouble. Why? Well, it's not equal weights and measures. No, it doesn't need to be equal weights and measures. One God is true. That's correct.
Tim Pool promotes Christianity all the time, and he's not Christian. I know. And that's who makes me the most annoyed. The ones that are not Christians that pander to the Christians. Like Tim Pool, Ian Carroll. Who else?
It's not equal weights and measures. No, it doesn't need to be equal weights and measures. One God is true. That's correct. One God is true, and the other one is false. And it's the political will of the people who.
And what makes you say that? Well, it's okay because my God's real and their God's not. Why?
I read about it in a book.
The Jews say that their God's the real God, and I believe them. That's my proof in a book.
Ultimately are determining that. So it's not, we have all these laws and we have the Constitution to bind us and to restrain us from doing good.
Do you respect the Constitution?
I respect the Constitution insofar as it aligns with the immutable law of God and insofar as the laws used lawfully. The book.
Immutable law of God? What does that mean? You want the Jewish law? The law of the, I'm for the Constitution insofar as it aligns with what the Bible, with my interpretation of the Bible is. Dollar store Matt Walsh, shilling, playing the villain, calling for blasphemy
aligns
laws.
With the immutable law of God, and insofar as the laws used lawfully. The book of James says the law is good so long as it's being used lawfully. You want to use laws to ensure that more people are still murdered. I want to use laws to promote
criminalize blasphemy.
Yeah, what?
To criminalize blasphemy.
Oh, absolutely, of course. Yes, I want to use laws.
Decides?
This guy wants to throw me in jail because I say Jesus is fake and Jewish. I go, the Bible, Jewish fairy tales, Jewish prophecies. Nope. Not into it. Bow down to the King of the Jews.
Forget about it.
And he's like, take him away. Throw him in jail. Off with his head. Burn him at the stake. Oh, he doesn't want to be a goy slave worshiping the King of the Jews? Take him away. Arrest him. Timu Walsh. Oh, of course I want blasphemy laws. No, nobody can say anything bad about my favorite rabbi.
Laws to promote
criminalize blasphemy.
Yeah, what?
To criminalize blasphemy.
Oh, absolutely, of course. Yes, I want to use laws to stop wickedness.
Who decides what's blasphemous?
Good. What?
Who decides what's blasphemous?
The guy with the gun.
One, the Lord Jesus Christ, the Triune God.
He's not around to tell us.
Secondly, you can look to our heritage. You can look to our history. You can look to what the nation.
Well, our heritage says founding. First Amendment, the very first line: Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment.
Correct. Congress. Let's get there. So First Amendment. Let's make it even simpler. First word of the First Amendment. You're right. Congress cannot make a national church. So you cannot have a federal church over the whole country that is Episcopalian or Catholic or Baptist or whatever. But at the time that happened, you still had within the original colonies, 10 or 11 out of the 13 colonies had sanctioned churches. So technically, even with the First Amendment as it is on the books today, you could have state churches. Texas could be, Baptist, and Mississippi could be Presbyterian. You could have state churches. I'm not even saying that you should, but you could have state churches. What I would argue for at the national level is a pan-Protestant Christian nationalism.
Pan-Protestants? So this is our solution. We're going to empower our Christian Zionist overlords even more? That's the answer? Calling for blasphemy laws. How about we make the Bible illegal? How about it's blasphemy to say that the Jews are chosen by God? How about that's blasphemy? How about no promoting Jewish cons like the Bible? How about that for laws? This guy wants to have blasphemy laws, wants to put me in prison because I don't want to bow down to the Yeshua HaMashiach. Such a joke.
He's not a Christian, right? This is not the way that our country was in the... If somebody's not a Christian, right? This is not the way that our country was in the very beginning. It would not be mandated church attendance, right? The Sabbath, we're talking about Chick-fil-A, guys. It's not the end of the world. It would be okay.
Hey, stop being so divisive. Stop. Well, hey, we'll win and worry about it when we get there. Meanwhile, we need blasphemy laws, and the pagans are facing the wind and all the shit they say. Their religion literally says, do not be yoked with an unbeliever. And Jesus says, I did not come to bring peace but a sword, and to bring division. And they're like, you're being divisive. Stop exposing this fake Jewish religion, Adam. It's so divisive. You hate white people. Joel Webden's brother is transgender and has been exposing him as a fraud and talks with a fake accent. I don't really hear an accent.
Bro, when I can't get my grilled nuggies.
Yeah, it's frustrating, but you know what? If you just go to church all day, Tim, you would be okay. You know what I mean? You'd forget about it.
The libertarian, you have
Baptist
something to say
potlucks.
about this. I mean, why do you just say it's all, you put your hands up in the air?
I'm not a child.
What's that?
Because I'm not a child. Michael
No,
Malice.
apostasy would not, just real quick, apostasy would not be criminalized.
Okay.
So think of it like this, the 10 commandments. I think this is helpful. I'll say it quick and I'll let it go. Think of the first and the 10th commandment. All right, I'm Protestant, okay? So the Catholics are going to take, the 10th commandment of thou shalt not covet and bifurcate it into two. Don't covet stuff, and then don't covet the wife, and that's so they can get rid of the second commandment, which is do not make graven images, because the Catholics like their images. All right, so I'm a Protestant, so bear with me. First commandment is thou shalt have no other gods before me. Last commandment is do not covet. 2 tables, 10 commandments, but think of it as 2 headlines, 2 subcategories, tables of the law. Our duty toward God, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, strength. And then the second is love your neighbor as yourself. The first 4 of the 10 commandments deal with our love for God. Have no other gods before me, don't make any graven images, don't take the Lord's name in vain, and remember the Sabbath. The next 6, second table of the law now, pertaining to our love for neighbor.
Oh my God, I can't listen anymore. It's killing me. If you say my fairy tale is fake, off with your head. You're Amalek.
Is honor your father and mother, don't murder, don't commit adultery, don't bear false witness, and don't covet. The 10th commandment, I don't want any police state enforcing the 10th commandment, because coveting is a sin, but biblically speaking, and all through the Old Testament and in America's history, coveting was a sin, but was never viewed as a crime, right? You don't want like a Tom Cruise Minority Report where they're trying to predict crimes and sins of the heart.
Well, I don't.
And neither do I.
Okay. Well, I don't know. You support this deployment.
No, I don't. Let me finish. So coveting is a sin. It's not a crime. So it's like, so then when is this 10th commandment? It's one of the 10 commandments. When is it punished? It's punished when an individual doesn't check coveting at the level of the heart and it spills over into theft or to murder it's when it breaches. Now it's a crime. It's an outward action that is against the people and against the Lord.
Look, remember I covered this earlier? Ian Carroll telling Charlie Kirk, you dedicated your life to serving the people who killed him. Joel Berry from, is that Babylon Bee? Joel Berry says, so did Jesus. Jesus dedicated his life to serving the people who killed him. So did Jesus. It reminds me of the verse. It is funny, these Christians that are advocating for the 10 commandments, and the first commandment is the same first commandment of the Noahide laws. They're advancing Noahide laws. Good point, Joel Berry. Jesus dedicated his life to serving the people who killed him. Here it is. Romans 15:8, for I tell you that Christ has become a servant of the Jews on behalf of God's truth, so that the promises made to the patriarchs might be confirmed. Oh, you don't like the NIV? The King James says, Jesus Christ was a minister of the circumcision for the truth of God, to confirm the promises made unto the fathers. Jesus is serving the Jewish agenda, because the Jewish agenda is that the Messiah conquers the Gentiles. So yes, he is serving the Yahweh agenda.
Somebody's not a
Christian nationalism on Timcast.
If somebody's not a Christian, right? This is not the way that our country was in the very beginning. It would not be mandated church attendance, right? The Sabbath, we're talking about Chick-fil-A, guys. It's not the end of the world. It would be okay.
Bro, when I can't get my grilled nuggies.
Yeah, it's frustrating, but you know what?
We heard that
All right, so I'm a Protestant, so bear with me.
All right, we heard that one already. This is the guy that says, it's Jewish to not bow down to the King of the Jews, who's the Jewish Jew of all time.
Jewish. Rejecting Christ is the most Jewish thing you can do.
We are receiving a Jewish salvation by virtue of our faith in Christ. Christ is the most Jewish Jew who ever lived.
Rejecting Christ.
So you're getting a Jewish blessing from the Jewish God, worshiping the King of the Jews, but we're Jewish if we don't do that. And you want blasphemy laws if we don't worship the Jew. This guy can't be serious. We're supposed to have a debate. We'll see if he wants to do that. We'll see if that actually happens. But, oh, and by the way, look at this. This is what he tweets. 17,000 likes. Screams of botting and psyoping. Christianity's a Jewish psyop. No, fool. Rejecting Christ is the most Jewish thing anyone can do. That's why all the first Christians were Jews. That's why it was only Jews that even cared about messiahs before Christianity. Christians call themselves inward Jews and spiritual Jews and say that they're the true Israel and that they have the covenants. Worship the Jew or you're a Jew. Meanwhile,
we believe in Jesus Christ.
This is where we're supposed to debate on Elijah Schaefer's show. I wonder if Schaefer's going to agree with me or him. I love how everybody that worships Jesus becomes a Jew, but then if you don't worship Jesus, you're also a Jew, so just everybody's Jews.
Basically, if you believe in Jesus Christ and the covenant, from my understanding, then now you're Jewish. In terms of, that's like the joke, but
that is an incredibly astute theological observation that very few Christians understand.
Yeah, that's like
it's so it's like
Abraham,
grafted
correct.
in.
So you're brought into, like, the true Jew is the one who's circumcised of the heart, right?
Right.
Basically, if you believe in Jesus,
there's nothing more Jewish than worshiping the Jewish Messiah. There's nothing more Jewish than wanting to be the true Israel. Oh, you don't want to bow down to the Jewish Messiah and be the true Israel? Well, you're a Jew. And that gets 17,000 likes by a bunch, which is good to know that there's 500,000 views of people hearing the meme that Christianity is a Jewish psyop and coping about it. That's 17,000 likes of cope. Oh, you don't want to worship Jesus? Well, you're a Jew. Do they ever have anything else besides that? Blasphemy, take them away.